Welcome to the Iferia TechCast, where we bring you all things science, engineering, technology, and innovation. Today, we are joined by Kacper Staniul, the co-founder of MyArchitect AI, a platform that's using artificial intelligence to transform architectural design. His tools allows architects to generate photorealistic renders from a 3D model in under 10 seconds, right in their web browser. No powerful hardware or complex software required. His mission is to democratize high-end visualization, empowering smaller firms to compete with industry giants. In this episode, we'll dive into the engineering behind instant rendering and explore how AI is becoming a creative partner in the design process. So, Casper, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Ezekiel. Good to be
I
here.
am excited to have you here today, sir. So, quickly, let's dive in. The vision behind my architect AI is to let any architect visualize their ideas instantly, regardless of their hardware. So I think that vision is quite powerful. So what was the specific frustration or light bulb moment you witnessed that made this more than just an idea, but a mission you had to pursue?
Yeah, so when the AI technology started to kind of get more powerful around 2 years ago, I was just exploring different use cases. And I didn't really have any kind of background or experience in architecture or interior design, but just by spending lots of time on the internet, random stuff, I just noticed how useful image generation powered by AI can be in these fields. And that's how me and my co-founder started with MyArchitect AI. Even though we didn't have any experience, we showed this early product to some of our architect friends, and they told us that this has really big potential. Of course, back then it was the technology was compared to what we have right now very basic. And right now, if you saw the results from 2 years ago, you would say that they're really poor. But back then, considering how quick the process was, it was still very impressive for lots of users. And after getting the early feedback from our users, we just used it to keep improving the product and get to where we're now.
Fantastic. So for the engineers and developers listening, can you pull back the curtain on the technical architecture? So what does the pipeline look like from the moment a user uploads a SketchUp file to the moment they got a photorealistic render back in under 10 seconds?
Yeah, so I'm actually the non-technical co-founder. So my co-founder is an AI engineer and she does all the technical stuff. So I can only give you a very high level overview that we're using stable diffusion model and lots of optimizations. The process is created in Comfy UI, which is a easy way to work with AI models. And then this is how we visualize the design is either based on SketchUp models or any other 3D modeling tool. It can even be a basic hand-drawn sketch. And after applying these optimizations, you basically don't even need to provide any prompts, and our model will understand what's in your uploaded design and keep all the geometry, materials, and textures and make your design realistic.
All right. So, Casper, one of the biggest technical challenges in AI rendering is preserving the original design intent and geometry. So, how did you train your AI to understand and respect an architect's precise measurements and structural elements rather than just generating a pretty picture?
Yeah, so this also, I'm not really able to tell you exactly what happens, but our model was trained based on a synthetic data set of lots of architectural and interior designs specifically compared to other tools and AI models that are all purpose. Our tool is made for one very specific use case. why we're able to have such impressive accuracy compared to other general purpose tools.
All right. So I'm curious about the early days. So is there ever a time the AI produced a render that was completely wrong or hilariously broken? And what did that failure teach you that a perfect render never could?
Yeah, there were lots of situations like this, and our users were quite unhappy about it when either the model that didn't follow the geometry well, either it added some artifacts or didn't just understand the content properly. But it took us quite a long while to optimize our underlying model to where it is now. And also the open source models just keep getting more powerful with time. So we are just at the beginning of the growth of AI image generation models. So this is only getting more accurate and more realistic with time.
Fantastic. So, Casper, for the SaaS founders and product managers listening, what has been the most surprising thing you learned about building a product for a specialized professional audience like architects?
Surprising. There are lots of things that user reported. So, we are learning everything from scratch about
Mm,
this field and architectural visualization. It's really interesting when you just go into a completely new niche that you don't know anything about. Like we have experience in building software products, in the marketing and the business side of it. But everything else we just learned from scratch based on talking to our users. So especially in this case where you're new to an industry, listening to customers is extremely important. And of course, it is quite difficult in the early stages where you don't have many users, and that's when it's even more important to get to reach as many people from our target audience as possible, either through your network or some internet communities, and just learn based on what they tell you. So it's a really interesting process to be in a situation like this.
fantastic. So, I want to talk about what I consider a controversial topic. So, many creative professionals fear that AI will replace human skills. So, from your own vantage point, do you think AI is actually, augmenting the architect's role? And also, what is a task you believe will always require a human touch?
Yeah, it's so AI is definitely not gonna fully replace architects anytime soon. It will surely replace visualizers that don't really have advanced skills, and that's what's already happening. If there are some rendering providers that can't really provide really high quality, all the self-serve tools like ours and many others on the market are already replacing, especially if rendering firms typically charge a couple $100 per render, which is a starting price. And this kind of quality, all the AI software can already produce, unless the firms are providing like really super high quality competition level renders, they won't have place in the market anymore. But in terms of the other aspects of architecture, this is very, very far from being replaced, and it's surely not going to happen anytime soon. So architects are only going to get more efficient by using the right tools, and yeah, those that won't adopt them into their companies and their workflows are just going to be left behind, and kind of overlap by those that use AI tools to make their work more efficient.
All right. So, looking at the future, what would you say is a capability in architectural visualization that seems like science fiction today, but you believe AI will make possible in the next 3 to 5 years?
What is already starting to happen are AI models that allow really immersive walkthroughs, especially through technology called Gaussian Splats. And while it is already possible to let users just walk through a space created based on one flat image, and this is just slowly beginning to grow and get more powerful. So probably in the next 1 or 2 years, this will be a really big niche to let users walk through a space created based on either one or just a couple of flat images, which in the past required you to have a whole view recorded with some high quality camera.
Right. So for you as a co-founder, what has been the steepest learning curve personally on this journey from, a technical idea to leading a company that's reshaping an entire industry?
Honestly, for me, this outsourcing stuff to other people, because I really enjoy doing everything myself. But when you reach some scale, you realize that it's not possible anymore. And for people like me who like working on their own and doing everything myself, it just comes hard to hire people, which, yeah, I'm not used to it. So I would say this is the hardest part, because I would still like to, handle all the parts of the business myself, but I'll just have to, work 40 hours a day probably to handle all this myself.
Fantastic. So I know you're not technical guy, but so for a software engineer or a student listening who is inspired to apply AI to a traditional field like architecture or design. So, what is your advice on where to start and how to identify a real unsolved problem?
The best advice is just to build something that you would use yourself. And this is the quickest way to learn any either technology or anything else, just something that you would use in your actual everyday life. And this will help you keep motivated, even if it's not working well in the early stages. And instead of learning all these things before starting to create, just dive right in and learn the technology along the way. And yeah, this is also something that I've learned from my previous projects, that I was just learning stuff that might be useful one day instead of starting to build it and show it to other people and get feedback. So yeah, just diving right in, showing it to people and learning along the way is the quickest way to learn.
Great. So, what has been the most rewarding feedback you received from an architect using your platform? uh, a moment where you saw that you were genuinely making a difference in their work and creativity.
Yeah, actually, feedback from users is the most rewarding and motivating part of running this business. And what we often hear from users is that they are saving literally hours every week instead of having to use traditional non-AI rendering tools, and they're using hours, and it produces the same level of the same quality or even higher than with other tools in a much shorter time. Or those that had to outsource it to rendering providers and pay hundreds or thousands of dollars per project can now do it very affordably using our tool. So this is a super rewarding part. And in the early stages, when I was showing the product to some people, they just literally screamed "wow" when they saw the result. So it never happened to me, and it just showed that there's a huge potential even back then when the technology wasn't that advanced. So positive feedback from users is super important, and what keeps us going.
Great. So, a part of the theme of this podcast is centered around innovation. So, for that reason, I like to reserve one question on innovation for every guest that I interview on this podcast. So, Caspar, in your work, which sits at the crossroad of artificial intelligence and human creativity, so what does the word innovation truly mean to you?
For me, it is making existing processes more efficient and making either some part of your work or life just more efficient or time saving or giving you more satisfaction. And this is ultimately what keeps moving the world forward.
Interesting. That's a really new one I am hearing today. So thanks for sharing your own opinion on what innovation means to you. So finally, Casper, for our listeners who are, for example, architects or simply just curious to see this technology in action. So where's the best place for them to go learn more and try MyArchitect AI for themselves?
Yeah, I recommend you go to myarchitectai.com or just Google MyArchitect AI and go to our website where you can create a free account and test the app yourself. So what you just need is uploading a design of any kind of interior architecture. It can even be a product design, which even our product isn't built for, but it also handles pretty well. Stuff like product design, furniture, even cars and planes. We've seen other users uploading, and without any kind of 3D knowledge, you can create photorealistic renders yourself really quickly.
Fantastic. What maybe perhaps a user or someone generally enthusiastic about your tool wants to contact you, is there a way they can reach you online or find you?
Yeah, the best way would be either through my Architect AI website or LinkedIn or Twitter.
All right. That's fantastic. So I'll be sure to link the website and socials to the show notes of this podcast so that listeners can easily get to try out this tool and perhaps contact you and connect with you. So, Casper, it's been a really interesting and insightful conversation with you, and I'm excited to have you on the show today.
Thanks a lot, Ezekiel. My pleasure.